let me stick on this subject, because a lot of the stuff that the federal government, Mr. Blaikie, is talking about doing, especially where affordability is concerned, comes off of proposals from your party, right? You're in an agreement right now to keep them in power, so it kind of makes sense. When your leader was asked about how to pay for it, he talked about the subsidies that go to oil companies that are very much around carbon capture. Part of the problem with the IRA is that it offers a production credit for carbon capture that has seen already one company based out of Alberta, I think it's called Entropy, decide to put all of its carbon capture investment south of the border. Isn't stuff like that necessary? Aren't those kinds of subsidies necessary to compete with the United States?
Well, I think there's still the question of where we want to compete with them. And the fact of the matter is that carbon capture and storage hasn't been proven at scale. And so the question is that really the place to put all your eggs? Our answer to that question is no. We don't think that's the place for Canada to make the big spend on transforming our energy economy to meet the needs of the future. We think that there are other places where we would get more value for public investment when it comes to greening our grid and preparing for electrification. So for us, it's a question of opportunity costs, a technology that really hasn't been proven at scale versus other things that we could be investing in.
Even if the U.S. is pursuing it, kind of?
Well, I think what we've heard in a number of, it's not just my word you can take for it, a lot of economists have said, look, Canada, the U.S. is firing on all barrels with the IRA. Canada's not going to compete with the United States on every item in the IRA, so we have to choose carefully. New Democrats don't believe that using what public funds we have in Canada to compete on carbon capture and storage is the best way to electrify our economy, lower our emissions, and create the kinds of jobs that we all want to see for Canadians. So one of our contributions to the fall economic statement was to insist very strongly on having language like the Biden administration has put around their investment in clean tech, ensuring that there are good paying jobs with good benefits as part of that package. That's something that we have continued to push for investments that we may see coming up in the budget.
Do you want to see them explicitly tied to union jobs?
We're quite comfortable with that. That's something that the U.S. administration has done, and we've said that they should be adopting the same approach as the Biden administration. So that means, yes, good-paying union jobs being the backbone of these public investments, because we think that's the best way to get the maximum value for that public investment for actual Canadian workers, as opposed to just the companies that they would work for.
I just have 20 seconds left for a follow-up, but you also are asking for a windfall tax in order to generate more revenue.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister has dismissed it as simplistic and said that those costs, that extra tax, will be borne on consumers. Doesn't he have a point?
Well, look, we've seen other jurisdictions do this. So the UK has implemented, in fact, a Conservative government in the UK has implemented a windfall tax.
But to what degree did that actually lower inflation for people in the UK? They're still under some of the highest rates.
Well, if I could come back to your conversation with Jazz on affordability, I would say this is a major difference between Conservatives and New Democrats when it comes to affordability. They would say that widespread tax relief is the only way to really make things affordable for Canadians. We would point out to the many companies that have been jacking up prices on everything from housing to groceries, oil and gas, in order to eat up Canadians' disposable income, because the market will charge what the market can bear. Our approach has been to try and concentrate on bringing down the price of things that Canadians can't do without. Dental care, prescription drugs. We think there are other areas. Child care is another example where New Democrats have fought for a long time in order to be able to lower that cost, because we believe that by lowering the cost of things that people can't do without, we actually create more room for disposable income, because if the disposable income is what's left over when people have paid for the things they can't do without, then
it still adds to demand in the economy, though, potentially increases inflation.
But companies are competing to get disposable income after Canadians have paid for housing, prescription drugs, and childcare, instead of competing for the money that should be going to those things for Canadians to be able to access.
I'm out of time. Thank you very much, both of you, for your time.